one.
If you love wisdom, put your mind up to the ceiling. Don't let it stay in the gutter. Don't let your heart get all cluttered. No, I did not stutter. Listen to all that I've muttered. Your life will only go well if you in wisdom are lovers.
In love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside. Come inside.
The truth will surely rescue you and I.
You and I. You and I.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside. Come inside.
The truth will surely rescue you and I.
All right, what's going on, and welcome back. You were listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets, and we are on hour 2. And for this hour, we are discussing the wisdom of versatility. So if you were listening on the first hour, or if you missed it, we were talking about the wisdom of availability, and that was a continuation of last week. And last week we were discussing the wisdom of opportunity, right? So more on that after this. You are listening to North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside.
Hey, what's going on, Wisdom family? Each week on For the Love of Wisdom, we promote a new and free audiobook that we believe you will benefit from and become wiser by listening to. On today's show, we're talking about the wisdom of availability and versatility. And so, the recommended book for this week is Eyes Wide Open by Isaac Lidsky. This book is about a man who became legally blind, but it was only then that he could actually see clearly. To download this free book today, just visit audibletrial.com/lovewisdom. audibletrial.com/lovewisdom.
All right, welcome back. This is your host, JC Johnson, For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. All right, and today we are discussing, well, in hour 1 we discussed availability, and now we are discussing versatility. And hanging out with me today, we have Stephanie and Eli. So what's going on, yo?
Hey.
All right, so this this show is all about philosophy, and the word philosophy literally means, if you break it down, it means love of wisdom, right? The first part of that word, philo, means love. Sophos, the second part, or Sophia, it's another Greek word that means wisdom. So love of wisdom. And each of the episodes that we're discussing in this series right now, they all end with the same suffix. They all end with an ity. And so someone recently asked me, why do all the shows end with that ity? And just basically, just to explain that, it's just something that I think it's just cool to do, just to keep some consistency. And my plan is for the first 50 episodes or so, all the episodes will end in an ity. Maybe after that, for episode 51 to 100 or something, then maybe it'll be something different. Maybe it'll be all words that end in ence, or maybe it'll be a prefix, like words that begin with con or something like that. But definitely, if you have a suggestion for that, you can hit me up on Twitter at Lovewise Podcast. That is the handle, at Lovewise Podcast. You can either just post something on there, or you can inbox me about a suggestion you have, and we can try to work with that. So really, this suffix though, ity, it means condition or quality of being, basically. So it's similar to the verb to be, basically, and it's a suffix denoting state or condition of something. All right, so last week we discussed the wisdom of opportunity, and in hour 1 of the show we continued that conversation by discussing the wisdom of availability, right? And so opportunity is an event or moment at which actions or of importance or significance can be achieved. And we looked at that last week. If you missed that, don't worry about it. You can always listen to past episodes online. If you prefer, you can listen on iTunes, or you can listen on Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Google Play Music. You can listen on iHeart. You can listen on any, if you have an Echo or an Amazon device, that is Alexa enabled, then you can just say, hey Alexa, play For the Love of Wisdom, and it'll bring the show up like that, so that way you can listen, hands free if you're not able to actually search for it. So there's definitely a lot of different ways that you can hear the show if you missed it. So if you had to turn your car off, or you had to get up to go to the bathroom or whatever, and you missed something, don't worry about it. You can also you can always catch past episodes online. And the theme of the show, it's a verse from the Bible that really sticks out to me, and I think that this kind of summarizes all of the episodes here. And it's from Psalm 90 verse 12, and it says, teach us to number our days carefully, so that we may develop wisdom in our hearts. And I think that that's it's a pretty good reminder. Definitely is something that I like to be a prayer of mine, because I'm not somebody who has it all figured out. I make plenty of mistakes every day, and I'm really just trying to figure this life out. I'm trying to figure out, how can I make the right decisions in this world? How can I do what's best? How can I treat people fairly? How can I make good decisions? So that's definitely something that I think that we all could do. And so looking at this word, versatility, we talked about availability in the first hour, but now we're looking at the word versatility, which we can see comes from the word versatile. And versatile, basically it the first English usage of the word comes from somewhere around the 17th century. So in the year 1600, that's when we first hear about it, and it means inconstant, right, or inconsistent, right, turning, revolving, moving, capable of turning with ease to varied subjects or tasks. Now, in a past episode, a couple weeks ago, we actually talked about continuity, and continuity is all about consistency, right? So this can actually seem like a contradiction to that, but not exactly. It's really just depending on the context. So this word versatile means inconstant, but being inconstant in this case is not a bad thing, and we'll talk about that. And it basically also means to keep turning. So if you just imagine something that just keeps turning and turning around, or something that keeps revolving, to be engaged in something, to turn over in the mind, right? And it also comes from this root word, which means to turn or bend. And ultimately, the way that we use it in our everyday speech now in 2018, it means to be able to do many things well. And so that's why it's a positive thing now. So, just giving you the history of where the word came from. But when someone says now that they're versatile, it means like, hey, this person is able to deliver pizzas. They're able to, be a DJ, right? They're able to play basketball, right? They're able to do a lot of different things well. That's versatility. And the Collins English Dictionary also has some pretty good definitions for versatility as well. It says that it means to be competent in many things. So able to turn easily from one subject or occupation to another. So that's that whole idea of that turning, as we were talking about before, when it means to keep turning or revolving. So another definition from the Collins English Dictionary, it's adaptable to many uses or functions, moving forward or backward as the toes of a bird, or movable in any direction as the antenna of an insect, right? So that's just kind of like the understanding of that word right there. But before we get into the next thing, either Stephanie or Eli, when it comes to versatility, just even just being students at the Ohio Media School, like, tell me, what is your understanding of that word?
You want to take this?
To me, it's just kind of, I didn't expect to come in here and deal with every aspect at all. So you definitely kind of have to adjust fire quickly and get real versatile. and just learn, all these different things. I just came for audio, so it kind of was like a good thing because I was curious about, all the other avenues that they have for free here. But I just had to
Right.
on this bus real quick.
Because a lot of people do come for one or the other. Like they maybe come for audio, like you said. You said you came for audio mainly, but someone else may come for video. But when you're talking about media, multimedia, really it's all important. And eventually that's the way things are going to be going. I think everything is pretty much going to be that combination of audio and video.
Merging together.
Yeah.
I like to think like in today's world, like the best bet is to be versatile, because if you only got one, if you focus on one thing, if you only can deliver one thing, it's like, well, this guy, he can do that and he can do this as well. Like I'm sitting over here and watching you working the board, you working your mic, you working the computer, and all at the same time, setting up your music and setting up your commercials and everything. That's versatile, you know what I'm saying? Now, why would I hire the guy who only knows how to talk on the radio, and
Right.
then I gotta hire somebody to work the board, and I gotta hire somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly. It's better to try to kill two birds with one stone.
If you want to be efficient in today's world, try to be versatile.
Yeah, most definitely. We're gonna discuss a little bit more about that after this. You are listening to North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. And this is For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, you're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets.
With your host, Jason Johnson.
All right, welcome back. You are listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And today we are discussing the wisdom of versatility. And in hour one, we just finished talking about the wisdom of availability, right? And I have two special guests with me today. We have Eli and Stephanie, right? All right, so we looking at this word versatility before the break. We were just breaking it down, looking at what it means exactly, and at first glance it might seem to be a negative thing, because the root word of it means inconstant, right? So that when you're talking about inconstant, that's something that's inconsistent, and that may seem like a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing when you look at what that word really means in context. Because typically when we say that somebody is displaying versatility or they're versatile, usually we say that in a positive sense, because it literally means as well that it means you're able to do many things well. And that's pretty much been the understanding of the word since 1762. That's how most people will use it, right? So most people wouldn't use that in a negative sense. All right, so in the first hour we were discussing availability, and one thing we talked about was how JCPenney actually is a really good example of what it means to make yourself available, by basically coming in and taking over, or at least attempting to take over the $1.6 billion in revenue that Toys R Us was known to have before they went out of business, right? And so we talked a little bit about their strategy with that, as far as how 36% of the revenue from Toys R Us actually came from their sister store, Babies R Us. They sold a lot of baby products, baby clothing, and different products that parents could use with babies. So they're seeing that if they incorporate those things into their store or sell more of it, then they can potentially tap that market, right? And that's what it's all about. It's about making yourself available for opportunities. But in this hour, right now we're talking about versatility. So it's not just about making yourself available, which is important for opportunities, but also being versatile. And I think JCPenney is very versatile and what they're trying to do, because they're trying to tap all markets. They're trying to make as much money as possible, and that's what any good business does, right? So
Say try to apply these concepts to life, you know what I'm saying? Like being versatile, especially because like we just said before the break, like I said before the break, you got to be able to do more than one thing today. And living in this world today, you have to be able to do more than one thing. You have to be multifaceted. You have to have a lot on your resume. It can't just be, well, I'm good at this and I've been doing this for this many years. It's like, okay, you've been doing that for this many years. He might not be doing it as long as you, but he also can do this. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why I had to, shout my mans out right here for working the board, working the computer, working the mic, because there's not a lot of people who can do that. You know what I'm saying? Some people just get in here and talk on the mic. So just make sure you can apply these lessons to your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, use it. You know what I'm saying? JC Penney, they basically tapped in the whole revenue stream of Babies R Us, because they was thinking they were what was the other word? What was the other word?
What's it? They made themselves available.
They made them available to tap into that market. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, make yourself available in life to do other things than just what you're doing right now. You might seem like you're doing good right now, but if you made yourself available for more, there's no telling what you could be doing. Sky's the limit.
Exactly, and I like what you said too, just about these principles apply to your life, because with all of these examples, these are things that can be used in business and in school, things that can help you be successful in a lot of different ways. But ultimately, I think the most important application that we can take away from any of this stuff is as it relates to our personal lives and our personal development. And that just leads into this next article that I think is really good when it comes to versatility. This one is called Personal Development: How to Increase Your Adaptability. And adaptability, that's a synonym for versatility. And this one was published about a month ago, and a little under a month ago, and it has some pretty good insight here that I think you'll appreciate. So check this out. This says here that adaptability is an attractive quality. We all like to think of ourselves as being flexible and adaptable, a team player, going with the flow. It means that we are not rigid or stuck, and so we're open to change and challenge, right? So that's what it means to really be adaptable, to be versatile, right? So if you're the type of person who says, I can only work in these kind of conditions, right? Like,
you're not adaptable.
Yeah. Like, you might say, well, I would, I don't know, like, for example, I would take this job, like how you were mentioning, just with doing multiple things, like, running the board or speaking on the microphone, like within a radio studio type of environment.
Right.
A person might say, well, I only want to be on the air, period. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to do any advertising. I don't want to work on any promotional stuff. I don't want to learn how to run the soundboard. I don't want to talk to anyone when I come in here. The only thing I want to do is just talk on the mic, and that's it, and then go home. But for that person, opportunities are probably going to be more limited for them, because like you said, people are looking for someone who can do a little bit of everything. And that's why I think that with the Ohio Media School, where we are attending now, I think that it's great for that, because it forces you to learn everything. So just as Stephanie was saying, she came in for audio, but when you're here, they don't just say, okay, you want to just do audio, we'll just stick to audio, all your projects will be audio. But you also have to learn video, you have to learn social media marketing, you have to learn a little bit of everything, because all these things are relevant, really, if you want to stand out.
Right, it makes you more marketable, basically.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're more likely to get what you want, or the job you want, per se, if you could do more, if you could make the company save money. Like, I don't have to hire a sound guy who know how to work the soundboard. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I don't have to hire somebody to flip burgers if you could flip burgers and do the speaker at the window for McDonald's, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? If you can making the company save money, like, they're gonna do their best to look out for you.
Right.
So I know it seems like kind of like, you know, well, these people already are in a position where they can help anybody. But if you can save them money, they're going to love that. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you know, that's going to come back down on you in a good way. So,
and a couple things here that they say that I think is really good. One, it says, we cannot afford to think we know everything either. Something new will come along and blow that out of the water, whether it is a new technology, a new process, or a new plan. And so that's good too. It's being able to say, all right, I thought I knew how to do this, but now I realize with this new information, this new technology, whatever, I'm a novice at this. I need to spend some time studying so I can, kind of continue to increase my marketability. But then they also say the flip side of that, there are some things that you are really good at, that some things you are really gifted at. So it's saying adaptability is about continually developing more of what we are truly capable of and living up to our potential. Because there are some things that you're probably going to do better than someone else. And there's some things that someone else is going to do better than you. And I think the main thing is just knowing where your giftings are and really trying to capitalize on that.
I really want to kind of go back to when you said, be aware of future advances, as far as technology and whatnot changing. Some odd years ago, maybe 10 odd years ago, assembly lines were ran by people, human beings. Now you can have an assembly line ran by.
Let's come back to that. You're listening to North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. We'll be right back.
It's your boy, Tear It Up, Tommy Tom from Beyond Sports, and you're listening to For the Love of Wisdom
with your host, Jason Johnson.
Welcome back. You are listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And of course, we're listening on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. So right now we are discussing the wisdom of versatility. And one thing that we looked at before the break, we were looking at this article. It was written by Emma Sue Prince, and it's in trainingzone.co.uk. And it's it has some pretty good insight, basically just about your personal development, how to increase your adaptability, right? So that's what we were talking about before the break. One other thing that she said in here that really stood out to me. She said, whenever you encounter a new challenge, make a quick list of some of the potential ways that you could solve the problem, right? So experiment with different strategies and focus on developing a logical way to work through common problems. And this is just about, it's like preventative maintenance, really. And there's someone who recently did a TED Talk about this, and she was talking about how you have to kind of prepare for the worst in a way. It's not that you're anticipating or desiring the worst thing to happen, but you're preparing for it. And so it was the whole idea of before something goes wrong, getting everything in line, getting everything in order, so that when it does happen, it won't mess things up. It won't throw you off, right? So anticipating that there's going to be challenges is a good thing, because that means that you can spend more time studying, maybe, spend more time, getting prepared. I see one of our instructors, it looks like he's got a wrestling belt. I don't know if he's a champion. Okay. All right. So you heard it here. We got a WWE champ in the building, Jack John. All right, so he's putting his belt on now for us.
Heavyweight.
Oh, okay, all right. yeah. He's showing it to us in a creative way there. Yeah. So, but we're talking about versatility. Again, this is just really about being able to do several different things and doing them, not just doing them, but doing them well, right? And the best way to do that is to prepare. Here's a little article I think is kind of cool, and it's called Versatile Uses for a Perfectly Nice Word. All right, and let's see what this says here. This is This was published in the Wilson Times, and this was written by Keith Barnes. So he's looking at this word nice. We use the word nice in a lot of different ways, and I don't know if you thought about it. I don't know if you all can think about just a time where you use the word nice in everyday language. You probably used, today at some point, whether you realize it or not. So he gives some examples here. So he says that one dictionary website devoted to nice, basically, or this word nice, they listed 677 different synonyms for the word nice, which is a lot. Yet, even with all of those different ways you could say it, people typically will just say the word nice. For example, have a nice day. It's an easy way to end a conversation. Nice to see you. It can be spoken either when greeting someone or when saying goodbye. You could say, we had a nice discussion. We had a nice visit. We had a nice chat. Nice and easy, we'll say. Or she met this really nice guy. It was nice to get away for the weekend. We had nice weather outside, right? If we go to a nice restaurant, you need to wear something nice, right? Even in sports, in golf, you can say, oh, that was a nice shot. That was a nice drive. That was a nice putt. Baseball, that was a nice pitch. Right. Basketball, oh, that was a nice jump shot. That was a nice pass. Football, that was a nice run, nice catch, nice tackle, etc. Right? All these different ways. We use this word so much. I think we overuse it, really. But it just speaks to the versatility of the word nice. Other uses. For a wedding reception, it was a nice wedding. Everyone looked so nice. Nice can also be used just as easily for a funeral. Negative connotations.
If he was a nice man, or I don't know.
He was a nice man. This was such a nice service.
Nice house, a nice family.
The usher was so nice. The funeral director was a nice guy. Nice can also be used in this way, in a negative way, right? So you can say, ooh, he has a pretty nice black eye. Looks like that hurts. Oh, he's got a nice case of the flu. Oh, he's got a nice sunburn. And then the author of this article, he concludes it just by saying, this is a nice way for us to end. So have yourself a nice day. Right? I think I'm going to say that now at the end of every episode. This is a nice way for us to end. Have a nice day. Right? How about that? Is that going to work? maybe maybe not. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But again, as I mentioned earlier, we have a book of the week, and the book of the week this week is Eyes Wide Open, and it's by Isaac Lidsky. And this guy, he actually was on the show Saved by the Bell, The New Generation. I don't know if anyone has seen that, or if after the original one went off the air, you were like, I've had enough Saved by the Bell. I'll stick with the original. I don't want to see it go any deeper than that, right? But this guy used to be on there, Saved by the Bell, The Next Generation, and he went through something where he wasn't born blind, but when he was in his early 20s, he actually became blind. And it was something that changed his life. But he talks about how it really allowed him to see the world in a different way. And that's why his book is called Eyes Wide Open. Right? So even though he can't see, he can see now things that he wasn't able to before. And you can always, through For the Love of Wisdom, we have a deal with Amazon, basically, where you can download a audiobook for free. So just go to audibletrial.com/lovewisdom and you can download this book for free, Eyes Wide Open. It's pretty good. And what's that? Here's one. Here's something that he said. You do not see with your eyes, you see with your brain. We talked about that a little bit on the first hour. He said the experience of sight is far more complex than perceiving what is around you. Your eyes capture a breathtaking amount of information, but that's only where sight begins. A full third of your brain, the visual cortex, is devoted to processing that information. So really he's saying, it's you see things with your eyes, but you really don't see things with your eyes. Your eyes are just like a camera. They just record the information, but your eyes don't know what they're looking at. It's your brain that tells you what you're seeing. Yeah. And an example we gave before was that basically if one person looks at a tree with fruit hanging on it and they say, oh, that's a snack right there, whereas someone else, maybe the last time they ate some fruit from a tree, they got food poisoning and they were in the hospital for 3 days. So when they look at that, they're like, nah, I'm not messing with that. That's death. That's something dangerous right there, right? So just depending on what's going on in your mind, it kind of interprets what you see, right? So, but more on that after the break. You were listening to North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you.
You're now listening to For the Love of Wisdom on NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with who? No other but you.
All right, welcome back. You were listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets, and we're on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. All right, so we're about to conclude the show, and if you've listened before, you know that I always like to end the show with looking at the Bible and looking at what the Bible has to say about whatever it is that we're talking about. So today we were talking about availability in the first hour, versatility in the second hour. These are some verses I think that really apply to what we're talking about, and I think the Bible's the ultimate source of wisdom, so I think it's a great place for us to wrap things up here. So the first one is from Isaiah chapter 6 verse 8, and it says, "Then I heard the Lord asking, whom shall I send as a messenger to this people? Who will go for us? I said, here I am, send me." Right? And so in this place right here, Isaiah is basically saying to God, if no one else is available, I'm available, right? And I think that's an awesome thing right there. Basically, he's just letting him know. Ultimately, it doesn't necessarily say I am capable, right? But he says I'm available, and that's really all that's needed. If we make ourselves available, then God can use us for different things. So something to keep in mind. In Mark chapter 1 verses 16 through 18, it says that one day, as Jesus was walking along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and his brother Andrew throwing a net into the water, for they fished for a living. And Jesus called out to them, "Come, follow me, and I will show you how to fish for people." And they left their nets at once and followed him. And this doesn't mean fishing for people in the sense that they were capturing people in nets or anything like that. But basically, just talking about how to kind of win people over, kind of win over the hearts of people, how to kind of lead people to God. It's a figurative way to say that. And so it's a pretty powerful passage right there, because it just shows that when Jesus came to them, they just dropped everything and they followed him. They didn't ask him any questions. They didn't say, well, hey, am I going to get paid for this? They were just like, all right, okay, you told me to come and I'm going to. And that availability, is something that's really important. That's something that we need to have. Either of you want to chime in on that? Just
give a man some food and you eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, you eat forever.
That's true. That's true. So how can we apply that to our lives?
Learn for yourself.
Yeah, like I could have asked somebody to come in here and do the board for me, or like. But if I learn how to do it myself, I ain't gonna need the help. You know what I mean? Now it makes me more versatile for the world. You know what I'm saying? So.
Exactly. Here's another one here from 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15, and it says, "But treat Christ as holy, as Lord in your hearts. while remaining always ready to give a reasoned answer to anyone who asks you to explain the hope you have in you, yet with humility and fear. And this one I think really stands out to me, because this is basically talking about, if you have faith in God, you're trusting God for something, and or just in your life in general. Not everybody's going to understand that, right? And people may ask you, why do you trust God? I mean, or this bad thing just happened in your life. Why would you, put your faith in him? Why would you look to him for help? But this right here is just saying to make yourself available, just being ready, right? At any time to be able to give an answer, as opposed to saying, well, I really don't know. But it's saying, like, even though you're saying it in humility, you're still able to give an answer for that, no matter what's going on in your life. Somebody might have just stolen your car, right? Maybe your girlfriend just broke up with you, right? Something could have, tragic could have happened. You might have just lost a family member. Someone just died, that's close to you. Anything could have happened, but you're still able to give a answer. You're still able to say, but no matter what I'm experiencing, I still have faith in God for this reason, for that reason, whatever. So that's another one. Just speaking to availability. Here's one from 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2. And it says, tell everyone God's message. Be ready at all times to do whatever is needed. Tell people what they need to do. Tell them when they are doing wrong, and encourage them. Do this with great patience and careful teaching. And what sticks out to me here is, when he says, tell people what they are doing wrong. It doesn't mean just go around just telling people what they're doing wrong, but it also says, and encourage them. Because the only reason you should tell someone that what they're doing is wrong is not to make them feel bad or to make yourself seem like better than them, because you're not. Nobody's better than anyone else. But it's basically just to say, hey, if you're doing something the wrong way, I'm going to tell you the truth. Because if you love somebody, you're going to tell them the truth. If you see somebody that's about to walk off a cliff, you're not going to say, well, hey, I don't want to judge or whatever. You're going to say, no, hey, you're going the wrong way. You need to turn around. Because if you don't, then you don't really care about that person, right? So that's what this is saying. Just, even being available for those instances where, God may send you to someone just to speak something to them that could save their life. You see somebody about to smoke some crystal meth or something. You might say, hey, well, I'm just going to tell you the truth. That's not a good idea. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10. One more and then we're going to wrap it up. It says, God has made us what we are. In Christ Jesus, God has made us new people so that we would spend our lives doing the good things he had already planned for us to do. And again, this speaks to just being available to do what is good, to do what is right. There's so many people, billions of people in the world that are doing what is wrong. So why not make yourself available to be used by God to do what is right? That's something that can make your life more meaningful. That's something that gives your life purpose. So something to keep in mind, definitely. But thank you for hanging out with me this afternoon. Thanks to my special guests, Stephanie and Eli. Thank y'all for stopping in. Yep. And all right, so we are about to conclude for today. You were listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. We'll be back next week.
Knowledge is power, power is money, and money makes the world go round.
Money, power, respect, I get it higher, learning, yeah, I'm winning. Only get better with time, keep got on my mind with wisdom, there's no limit. There's no limit, get up and get it. Can achieve the impossible, conquer every obstacle. Exhausting the grind and constantly push and do what they say I could. Life is what you make it. Knowledge is power, don't let them take it.